As a marine biologist, I've always been fascinated by the mysteries of the ocean. The Great Barrier Reef, with its vibrant coral and diverse marine life, has been my workplace for years. I've seen many wonders during my dives, but nothing could have prepared me for what I discovered that fateful day. It started like any other routine dive. I was conducting a survey of the reef, checking the health of the coral and observing the fish species in the area. My equipment beeped steadily, providing data on water temperature, depth, and the surrounding marine life. Everything seemed normal until I noticed something strange on my sonar. There was an anomaly, something that didn't belong. It was a structure too perfect to be natural, located deeper than I had ever gone before. My heart raced with a mix of excitement and curiosity. What could it be? A shipwreck? An undiscovered cave? I knew I had to investigate. I adjusted my gear and began my descent, pushing past the familiar depths into the unknown. The water grew darker and colder as I went deeper. My flashlight cut through the murky blue, revealing nothing but water and the occasional fish. But the sonar kept pinging, guiding me closer to the mysterious structure. After what felt like an eternity, I finally saw it, a massive entrance carved into the ocean floor, surrounded by tall, ancient pillars. My breath caught in my throat as I realized what I was looking at. This wasn't just a cave or a shipwreck, it was the entrance to an underwater city. The architecture was unlike anything I had ever seen. The walls were smooth and crystalline, reflecting the light from my flashlight in shimmering patterns. The structure was clearly man-made, but it was also ancient, untouched for thousands of years. I hesitated for a moment, awed by the sheer size and beauty of the place. As I swam closer to the entrance, something unexpected happened. An energy field activated around me, and suddenly the water was gone. I was standing in an air-filled chamber, able to breathe without my mask. I quickly removed my diving gear, amazed by what had just occurred. The energy field must have created a breathable atmosphere inside the city, something I had never even thought possible. With my heart pounding in my chest, I stepped further into the city. The walls were covered in strange symbols and intricate carvings, telling a story I couldn't yet understand. I felt like I had stepped into a forgotten world, a place that held secrets beyond my wildest imagination. But as I explored the city, I began to realize I wasn't alone. My presence had triggered something, an awakening. The city wasn't just a collection of ruins, it was alive, and it was reacting to me. Lights flickered on as I moved, and I heard the faint hum of machines powering up after centuries of silence. Suddenly, a loud noise echoed through the corridor, and I spun around just in time to see a massive door slide open. From the darkness beyond, robotic sentinels emerged, their eyes glowing with an eerie blue light. My heart raced as I realized these were ancient security systems, designed to protect the city from intruders, like me. I had no choice but to run. I sprinted down the crystalline corridors, my footsteps echoing off the walls. The sentinels were fast, but I managed to stay ahead of them, dodging the energy beams they fired in my direction. My mind raced, trying to make sense of the symbols on the walls as I passed them. If I could decipher them, maybe I could find a way to stop the sentinels and escape. I turned a corner and found myself in a large chamber filled with strange, glowing plants. The room was bathed in a soft, bioluminescent light, and the air was thick with the scent of something sweet and floral. I didn't have time to appreciate the beauty of the place, though. The sentinels were still chasing me. As I moved deeper into the room, I noticed something strange. The plants seemed to respond to my presence. Their glow intensified, and I felt a slight tugging sensation in my mind, as if they were trying to communicate with me. I didn't have time to figure out how, so I kept running, hoping to find an exit. After what felt like hours of running and hiding, I stumbled into another chamber, this one unlike any of the others. In the center of the room was a large, floating hologram, a map of Earth as it was millions of years ago. The continents were different, unrecognizable, and the oceans covered much more of the planet than they do today. I approached the hologram, my mind racing. What was this place? Who had built it? and what had happened to them? I studied the map, hoping it would give me some answers. But, as I did, I realized something terrifying. This map wasn't just a relic of the past. It was connected to something much more powerful. On the far side of the room, I saw a massive, glowing structure pulsing with energy. It was a power source, an ancient, advanced technology that could solve Earth's energy crisis. But I also realized that in the wrong hands, the power could be used as a weapon, capable of unimaginable destruction. Just as I began to grasp the magnitude of my discovery, I heard a sound that filled me with dread, the unmistakable hum of a helicopter overhead. My emergency beacon had activated when I removed my diving gear, and now a covert ops team was on their way, likely drawn by the same beacon. If they found this place, there was no telling what they might do. I had to act quickly. The city was waking up more fully with each passing minute, and I knew I didn't have much time. I needed to find a way to harness the power of the city safely and prevent it from falling into the wrong hands. But first, I had to unlock the secrets of the city and understand its purpose. As I made my way deeper into the city, I encountered more challenges. In one room, gravity reversed, sending me floating up to the ceiling where I had to navigate a maze of sharp crystals. In another, I faced a series of puzzles that seemed to be designed to test my intelligence and moral character. The further I went, the more I realized that the city's creators had left these challenges as a way to judge anyone who tried to access their technology. They wanted to ensure that only those who were worthy could unlock the city's full potential. And now, that responsibility fell to me. Finally, I reached the heart of the city, a massive chamber filled with ancient machines and a glowing central core. This was the source of the city's power, the key to everything. But as I approached it, the sentinels reappeared, more determined than ever to stop me. I had to make a choice. I could destroy the power source and ensure that it never fell into the wrong hands, or I could find a way to harness it safely, potentially saving billions of lives on Earth. It was an impossible decision, one that weighed heavily on my conscience. In the end, I chose to try and harness the power. I carefully deciphered the final symbols and entered the sequence that would activate the city's systems. The central core pulsed with energy, and I felt a surge of power unlike anything I had ever experienced. But at the same time, I knew I was taking a huge risk. With the power source stabilized, I knew I had to get out before the covert ops team arrived. I retraced my steps through the city, dodging the sentinels and avoiding the traps I had encountered earlier. My air supply was running low, and I could feel the pressure of the water outside the city's energy field pressing in on me. Finally, I reached the entrance where it all began. I quickly put on my diving gear and re-entered the water. As I swam towards the surface, I could see the dark shapes of the helicopters circling above. I knew I had to move quickly. As I broke through the surface of the water, I took a deep breath of fresh air. I had made it. But I knew my journey wasn't over yet. I had uncovered an ancient secret, one that had the potential to change the world forever, but I also knew that I had to be careful who I trusted with this knowledge. Back on the boat, I quickly radioed my research team, telling them what I had discovered. They were shocked, but also excited. We had to protect this discovery from falling into the wrong hands, but we also had to find a way to share its benefits with the world. As the helicopters landed nearby, I knew that the real challenge was just beginning. I had to keep the city's secrets safe, while also finding a way to use its power for good. The fate of the world was in my hands, and I couldn't afford to make any mistakes. The discovery of the underwater city had changed my life forever. It had tested me in ways I never thought possible, and had shown me that there was still so much about our world that we didn't understand. But it had also given me hope that we could find a way to harness the power of the past to build a better future. As I looked out over the vast expanse of the ocean, I knew that my journey was far from over. There were still so many questions to answer, so many mysteries to solve. But I was ready. The ocean had always been my home, and now it was also my greatest challenge. I took one last look at the spot where the city lay hidden beneath the waves, and then I turned the boat towards the horizon. The future was uncertain, but I knew one thing for sure. I was ready to face whatever came next.
Now that you've listened to the story, let's go over some key vocabulary words and phrases that will help you better understand the narrative. These terms come directly from the story, and learning them will enhance your English skills. First, we have marine biologist. A marine biologist is a scientist who studies marine life and ecosystems in the ocean. For example, as a marine biologist, I've always been fascinated by the mysteries of the ocean. Next is sonar. Sonar is a system that uses sound waves to detect objects underwater, often used in navigation and research. In the story, the main character notices an anomaly on the sonar. An anomaly is something that is different from what is normal or expected, an irregularity. The sonar detected an anomaly, a structure too perfect to be natural. Then we have crystalline. This adjective describes something that is clear or transparent like crystal. For example, the walls were smooth and crystalline, reflecting the light from my flashlight in shimmering patterns. An energy field is a region of space in which an energy force is active. In science fiction, it often describes protective barriers or special areas. In the story, an energy field activated around me, and suddenly the water was gone. A sentinel is a guard or soldier who keeps watch. In the story, it refers to robotic sentinels that protect the underwater city. From the darkness beyond, robotic sentinels emerged, their eyes glowing with an eerie blue light. A hologram is a three-dimensional image created by light beams. In the story, the main character sees a large floating hologram, a map of Earth as it was millions of years ago. The word bioluminescent describes the ability of living organisms, such as certain plants or animals, to produce light naturally. For instance, the room was bathed in a soft, bioluminescent light from the glowing plants. Covert ops is short for covert operations, which are secret military or government missions. The character mentions, a covert ops team, alerted by my emergency beacon, is on their way. Finally, we have moral dilemma. A moral dilemma is a situation where a person must choose between two conflicting moral principles, making the decision difficult. In the story, the character faces challenges that test their moral character. These words and phrases are important for understanding the story and will help you improve your English vocabulary. Try using them in your own sentences to reinforce what you've learned.